Hello all, welcome back to the next one. In this one, we will see a couple of more attributes of the @test annotation. So let's take a look. What I have here is a new class TestNG underscore enable timeout. That's the one that I created. Let me maximize it so we have more viewing space. Inside it, we have one before class and then one after class. Not much. And then I defined couple of test methods. So @test, test method 1 and @test, test method 2. Now let's imagine a scenario that for a time being there is a bug that is identified. And because of that, one of the test method is continuously failing. So sometimes it doesn't make sense to run it always and let it fail because we have already caught the bug and we have already filed the bug. And the test case is just failing, creating some nuisance in the report. So what we can do here is temporarily we can disable the test case. And how do we disable the test case? Let's take a look. So what we can do here is inside parentheses, we can add an attribute enabled equals to false. This guy will tell TestNG that this method is disabled and do not run it. So we can add this attribute to any test method if we don't want to run a particular test method. In case we don't want to delete it, there is always a way which we can use to not run the test case, right? Let me right click it and let me try to run it. So run as TestNG test. What happened here is it only ran before class and then test method 2 and then after class. So only one of the method is run, which is test method 2, and test method 1 is skipped. And it's not even skipped. Basically, TestNG doesn't even show that it's skipped. It just ignores it. Basically, that's what we can say. It just ignores it. It's not run. So the second thing that I want to take a look at right now is, so what we can do here is we can actually make it true also. So I wanted to tell you that the default value for enabled is true. That's why all the test methods are run, but we can make it false. So that's how it works. So the second thing we want to take a look here is timeout. So there is one attribute called timeout, and we can actually set the time out for our test method. So let's say my test method is kind of time sensitive. I want to make it that if the test method does not finish in this amount of time, then just fail the test case, because maybe it's a performance issue that we don't accept any test method which runs for more than 5 seconds. And if it happens, then I just want to fail it because we don't accept this slow performance in our product. It just depends on product to product. It depends on features. It may not be applicable to all of you, but this is a constant that may happen in one of your project. So if there is a constraint, we can apply a timeout to the test method, and if the test method runs for more time than what we have provided here, then TestNG will mark it as fail. Doesn't matter if the steps are going fine, but just because it has exceeded the timeout, it will mark it as fail. So what I'm doing right now here is just 100 is actually in milliseconds, so which is actually very slow, very fast. But obviously you can modify it, like which is 10 seconds, 10,000, but for demo purpose I'm using 100 milliseconds. So if this test method runs for more than 100 milliseconds, then this will fail. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say thread.sleep, and I'm gonna wait for 200 milliseconds, and it asks me to add a throws declaration, so we can do that. Now this test method will obviously take more than 100 milliseconds because we are waiting for 200 milliseconds. So TestNG should fail this test method. And the first test method should not run. So let me just right click and run this test, run as TestNG test. And here we go. We see the failure here. And now we should go to console. And it just says that array out index out of bound exception, which actually is not relevant. We cannot find any relevant information because of that, but we know that this failed because we added more timeout. We added a less timeout. So now if I increase this to maybe 300, the timeout to 300, then it should be successful. Let's verify this. Run as TestNG test, and it's all good. It's successful. And there's no issue, no complaints from TestNG because we are only waiting for 200 milliseconds, and printing would not take 100 milliseconds. It is really quick. So timeout would only occur after 300 milliseconds. So all good, said and done. These are the two attributes that we wanted to learn in this lecture, and we have covered them. So please try to create a small test file, and play around with these two attributes, and let me know if you have any questions. So thanks for running this one, and I'll see you in the next lectures, guys. Thanks.